Alright, this is the second video of tonight's developer vlog video series. If you're just kind of catching up, there is a video before this one. I highly encourage to go back and look at that. It was about 50 minutes of me telling everybody where we are so far. Sorry that took so long. We're going to continue working here, and basically we're just working on making Snap 2 other object mechanics similar to Fallout 4. So I'm just going to jump right into it. The next real mechanic that I'm working on is keeping the snapped object from the player can scroll in and out and move the object in and out, but we don't want the player to scroll the object past the camera or off into infinity. So we're going to set a maximum distance and a minimum distance. And we're going to say, let's see, should we do this as public or private? I don't think it's really going to matter necessarily. So, if we do a public, then we can change it pretty easily. But, then it leaves it open, but that's fine. No big deal. So we'll say, public float zoom min zoom max is selected. Alright, so we can turn these private at any point in time. Again, this is just the test mechanics. This is not live, going live into Desolate Star yet. It will at some point once I have a better grasp on it and finish the mechanic. So let's say a zoom max. Actually, you know what? It's going to be irrelevant. So the zoom minimum is going to be how close it is to the camera, and the zoom max is how far it is away from the camera. So let's go ahead and note that. Zoom min equals how close to the camera. Zoom max is how far away from the camera. Alright, so we're going to say how close do we want the game object from the camera. Now we already have a variable that while we're playing the game, it keeps the selected object, which is now not working for some reason. Come on. Why are you not working? You were just working just a minute ago. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's do this. Void controls. That way, all I have to do is move this for testing. We're going to put it in update first and see what happens. For some reason now my keys are not working. Come on. Huh. So it's not even getting our make movable key. Joy. So what have we broken since the last video? Alright, testing for the lose. All we're doing is just setting up a debug log to make sure that the key press is actually working. Okay, it is working. So while we have the game running, we have distance, raycast, from raycast, yes. Found this is not working right here. Oh, right, because we set a distance on her. Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you take a break to go eat some sort of breakfast dinner thing and you forget where the hell you are working at. So we don't screw ourselves over again. Main camera, and we'll add a little bit of rotation so that we can actually see it Whoops, right there. Right, that's it. That's all I'm doing. So I'm gonna leave it. Leave the view on Open Broadcaster on the editor so you guys can see it as we move. There we go. So we can move things around, and we can do that. So let's change our zoom control. Let's make this 0.5 step and see how that feels. Make it easier for testing purposes. There we go. So what we want, excuse me, we want it to be, I'll go ahead and switch over monitors here. We want it to be no more than right about there, which is about -7.6. So let's say no more than a distance of 2 from our camera, okay? So we're going to say zoom in is 2, and our zoom maximum, so we're at -9 right now. That is the maximum distance from the object that we can grab that, but I don't like that because I feel like it's too far. So let's change that. I'm sorry, it's 10. So let's change monitors on OSB or OBS here. We're going to half the distance that the player can be from the pickup object, which means that we need to change this to -5. We're going to bring this down. Whoops. Camera down. Come on. Stop farting around. Okay. And just show you what it looks like in the game view. Alright. So we're at -7, so let's bring it in a little more. -4. And we'll move it down. And we're still -5.2. -5. Okay. So let's test it, make sure we can at least pick up the object. Key pressed. We are out of distance, probably. There we go. So yeah, we're just too far away. So what we want is right about there, which is, whoops. Show you what it looks like in the game. So right about there feels pretty good. So let's see where that is in the game world. That's 3.2 on our Z, as you can see up there in the top right corner. So let's say right there, let's say 3. So we're at -5 as a maximum distance from the object, and we want to zoom a little bit further than that. So let's say a total distance of 9 would be our maximum zoom distance, okay? So we're going to say camera distance plus 9 is going to be our zoom maximum, okay? So let's turn that off, and let's say 9. So the way that we're going to code this, pop. So we need to say, let's see, if zoom. Actually, you know what? I didn't put any debugs in here. I just want to make sure that the code is doing what I think it is. Zoom, this should be in, I believe. This should be out, I believe. Okay, what we're doing is we're just going to watch the console for debugs. That works. Scrolling down. Doesn't seem to do anything. What the hell? Why is it now broken? Interesting. Oh, right. You know what? Let's change this to 6. Okay, key press, found it, grabbed it, okay. Zooming, scrolling down, so that's zooming out, so we need to change that to zoom in. Scrolling up is zoom out. Okay, good. So I have it backwards, that's what I thought. The more I thought about it as I was typing it, it didn't feel right. Okay, so this is also a note for us. We can disable, or I'm sorry, comment out these debugs, and then we still have just general notes, but we can also put them up here. If we could type right, scroll out. You know what? Scroll game object that is selected out. In. All right. And we can make ourselves short notes also. Okay, so we know that this works. We'll just go ahead and disable or comment out those lines of code. And what we want is if it gets past the if it gets past the camera distance plus zoom out, then we need it to equal camera distance plus zoom out. Does that make sense? If it gets to 13 and our maximum is 12, then it just needs to set the Z to 12, the distance to 12. So let's do that. So if, go ahead and create our if statement. So this is our zoom out. So we're going to say if dist is greater than, we're just going to do regular greater than, because if it's equal to, then it's fine. Yeah, camera dot main dot transform dot position dot z then say dist equals this plus zoom max, and we'll put a note in here, debug.log at max zoom. Alright, we'll test it. I'll leave you guys on the editor screen so you can see that and see our console there at the bottom. But I'm going to be watching kind of both screens, so we're going to test everything. Trigger works, move around works. We're going to go zoom out, scroll up. At zoom max. Interesting. Okay, so let's take a look at our Z here. So our distance is, let's do the math. So our camera is at -5. Our max zoom is 9. So that should say that if the block is at 4 or higher, then it should set it to 4 and it should be fine. So it's at -1.39, and every time I scroll up, it is firing our trigger. So let's do this. Let's stop this, and then we'll set a debug. We'll say dist. We'll get our distance here. Let's see what our distance actually is, what the game thinks it is, I guess. Okay, that works. Scrolling out. Aha, max zoom 4.5. Interesting indeed. Alright, let's restart it and see what happens visually. So move you guys over here to the game. Grab the object, moves around just fine. Scrolling up to zoom out, it zooms in. Interesting indeed. And if you look at our console output now, it says the distance is at 4.5, which is not true. If you look up here, it is -1.53. So why is that happening, and what the hell? Transform.position.z. Aha. That's why we shouldn't be using distance. So let's see. We should be using this.transform.position.z is greater than that. Then set that to that. Let's try this again. And I totally foobarred, and there we go. Just as a side note, before I adjust this error, if you're editing code and you leave Unity running in your game, sometimes it friggin' takes forever for it to recompile code, load Unity, So you can hit stop and try to replay your game. So try to make it a note whenever you have to make code changes, stop your game, make the code changes, and then restart the game. Sometimes it just lags and sometimes it looks like the game is, or Unity has crashed. All right, let's adjust this error. Cannot modify a value, return value of Unity type transform position. Consider storing the variable in a temporary variable, or the value in a temporary variable, which is fine. So let's say we can't do it here, right? So did we do position Z as a global, or did I delete all that earlier? We did delete it earlier. Okay, fantastic. That's just peachy. Keep scrolling down. So this value is a float. So we're going to do float pause Z equals, and then we're just going to take all of this out of here, and we're going to clean up our code nice and sexy. And get rid of this garbage. Alright, let's test it. And I know all you veteran coders out there are going to be like, this is so going to either work or not work. So, you know, spoilers, if it works, and you already know, fantastic, keep scrolling. And I don't know why Unity does that. I hate that, though. Anyway, alright. So I'll leave you guys on the editor. And our control, our lock still works, our move still works. Scrolling the mouse wheel up. There we go. But we can still go infinite. And as you can see, it gets past 4. Bam, right there. And it is not stopping us. So, what is wrong? If our, let's see, what are we doing here? It's movable, is true. We scroll up, it increases the distance. We get the position right here. Wait a minute. Interesting. So this is firing, but it's not setting. Okay. This.transform.position.z. Let's try this again. My logic is totally deniable. Oh, that's right, we can't do that. Crap. Why did that not work? Okay, so that is right. So let's do this. And I know that a lot of you guys that have way more experience than I do, you already know what's going on, and I'm sorry that this video is probably a little bit boring for you guys. Okay, it's moving, scrolling up. Bam. Instantly right there. It is already at 4 for some reason. And it continues to fire 4, but it is not stopping it. Okay, my logic is wrong somewhere. So let's do this. Let's comment out this one. Whoops. All right. Do. Come on, Unity. All right, that works. Scrolling up. 1 tick at max zoom. Point whatever. So for some reason, my logic, I think my if statement is wrong. Oh, my God. It is totally wrong. Okay, so what we're saying is if this is greater than our transform.position.z, which it always is going to be because the game object is in front of the friggin' camera, then it's always going to fire this, and it's going to try to set this position z to this, right? So let's do this. And let's try this again. Okay, 1 tick, 2. As you can see in the top right corner, it's looking pretty good. So far, so good. At max zoom, 4.2085. Bam. So it's still not stopping it, but it's now fired. The logic is firing correctly. That's what we want right there. Okay, now we need to figure out why this is not working correctly. Or, ooh. No, we can't disable it. We can't disable our is movable. That'd be ridiculous. Now, we could set another Boolean, but we already have 2 in this one script on this one object. We could do another Boolean to say, is it scrollable, and turn that off. But if it's turned off, then how the hell are we going to scroll it back in? So that's not going to work. What we need, some sort of mathf clamp. I think. Let me think about this for a second. So we can actually turn some of these off here. And give me just a second. Let me find the documentation here for it. Lamp. Okay. So here's our, or I'm sorry, not our. Here is the Unity documentation for mathf.clamp. If you've seen any of the Unity tutorials that come free with Unity engine as itself, they use mathf.clamp, I believe, in one of the top-down shooter tutorials. It's highly useful. It's this, like this description or example right here, clamps the value 10 to be between 1 and 3. Prints 3 to the console. So let's take a look at this here and say clamps the value between a minimum float and a maximum float value. So there's our minimum, there's our maximum right there. So we could probably do this. I'm thinking. Everybody hold on. It's going to get crazy. We're going to have to science the shit out of this. Alright. So so we could do you know what? Let's just experiment. Screw it. More thinking. Ouch. Okay. You know what we could do is go ahead and comment this out and say debug.log. Get rid of that one. Actually, we're going to recycle this one. And we're just going to say mathf.clamp yoink. And our value is going to be positive z, or position z, I'm sorry. And then it's going to be our maximum is going to be this. And then our minimum is going to be min. So let's clean this up a little bit here. Alright. I have no idea if this is going to work. This is the fun of a developer's vlog, a newbie developer vlog. I experiment a lot. Come on, Unity. Catch up. Jeez, man. Cheers, man. Okay, that still works. Scrolling up by 1 tick. 4. What? Que? Yeah, 4. So... okay. Let's go another tick here. Still registering 4. Okay. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Prints 3 to the console. Okay. Experimenting fail. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. I don't think that it will the way that I'm thinking. But screw it. Let's find out. This is why you stay in school, kids. To learn stuff. Okay, that works. Max zoom, but it's still letting me do that. Okay, so I'm doing it wrong, or my logic is wrong. Either way, this is not going to work the way that I thought. Okay. So we are getting our position Z here. And we know that this logic is actually firing correctly, but stopping it, but setting the position is not working. I wonder if it's because... No? Because it passes... Nah, that's stupid. Stupid logic. I wonder if my logic here is just flat out wrong. Debug. Oh my gosh. Works. 4. So, yeah, that's firing right. Okay, so my logic is just correct. Once it gets over 4, it fires that. But then it should be setting the position Z here to 4. But it's not doing that for some reason. Clean this up a little bit. Okay. So this dot transform dot position dot z. Distance plus equals z step. I think it's because of this right here. I think our logic needs to be right here instead of down here. So let's do that. I'll take our whole if statement, move it up here, and see what we broke. Come on. Okay, that works. One. Now our if statement isn't even friggin' firing. Okay. Because that's our controls and it's only firing once. Awesome. Okay. So our logic is definitely wrong. So our distance, transform position to z minus... you know what? I could modify this a little bit. Let's do this. Debug.log. No, wait. Okay, that's only firing once, so that's fine. We need that to only fire once. Get the initial z distance. And then... That's why my logic is failing, I'll bet. Okay. Let's test this. I think I have a feeling I know what's going on, but I will have to do some testing and figure it out. .5. It is in a wholly different... It is not world space. That's why. Gotcha. Okay. So I need... Okay, I need to convert this, or I need to get the world space. That's why this logic is failing. Because this is already greater than this, which means that this should still be working, and it's not, but we'll fight that battle when we get to it. Oops. Okay. So I know what I need to do. Well, no, I'm doing that actually. So this is actually, this code should be totally working fine. I am completely missing something, and I know it. I feel it. And y'all are probably screaming at the YouTube video. That's our distance, 5.5. But we're in world space, negative 0.25. Okay. So we're at 4.4 now. Sorry, 4.9 actually. Oh. I got a better idea. Hang on. You know what? This will work. Okay. So let's scrap this. So we're going to say if the distance is actually greater than a certain amount. So we need to think about this in different terms. So if our if our zoom max, which is the maximum distance from our camera, we're going to say, you know what? Do we have it coded right here? Oops. Oh my god. True. Alright. So we're just going to do this a different way, and then we'll test our logic. Movable. 5.56. So let's say, okay, negative, we're at 4, but that's about 10.5, so we're going to go with 11. We're going to go with 11 as our maximum, I don't know. Let me switch over to the game here. That's pretty far. Like if I was the player standing here, that's pretty darn far. So let's say right there is about 1.7. It is 8.5. Okay. So let's think about this. We have a maximum distance of 6. Let me get back over to the code view. We have a maximum distance of 6 that the player can be from the object before they can interact with it to move it. Now, again, all of this will have to be wrapped up in a Boolean, say, like build mode, like in Fallout 4. But let's go double distance on this. Well, no, not even that. Let's go with, let's see, what do we have it at now? 9. So that's pretty good. Okay, let's do this. If distance is greater than zoom max, then pause z. Oops. So we need to do let's get the float pause z equals this dot game object dot position. Whoops. Dot transform dot position dot z. Pause z equals. Actually, we need to set. I think I'm overthinking this again. Distance equals zoom max. Let's try this. I think I was drastically overthinking this, and that's why I was failing so miserably. And every one of you out there is probably going, yes, yes, oh my god, stop thinking, you're killing me. Bam, look at that. Holy crap, I'm so stupid. So that just worked. 2 whopping lines of code. Y'all are going to have to suffer through a lot of this crap, I'm just saying. Alright, so all we did was we found our distance, what it was, and then we just compared it to our zoom max. So we're going to do the same thing. Actually, we're going to get rid of this garbage right here because we don't need this. Clean up our code. Take this. Down. Hurrah. Flip this around. Zoom min. And replace that. Now, we should have working min and max. Zooming in, stops at 2. Zooming out, stops at 9. Awesome. Let me show you this guy. Show you guys this in the game. That's 2. That's 9. The 9 still seems pretty far away. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll probably cut this down just a little bit. In fact, why don't we do this? Put the right view on here. We're gonna do 1, 0, and then we're gonna bring this into, let's say, -3. That's looking pretty good. Let you guys see that in the game. It's not bad. It's a pretty good distance. So that means that we're going to change our maximum. Do we want to do double? Let's not. Let's say, let's try 5, and then a zoom in of 2, which is, let's try 1.5. Okay, and we'll switch monitors and wait for the game. There we go. Okay, Zoom in. That's 1 point. What did we set it for? 1.5. So that's pretty good. That's not too close. It's not clipping in the camera, so that's good. And that is 5. Still feeling like that's a little far, but we have to consider when the player is looking vertically up or down, we want them to have good distance so they can build pretty high walls. And I feel like that is still a little bit too high, though. A little bit too far. Let's muggle with it a little bit here. Let's say 4.5 and leave the game running and see if this works. Okay, so that's 4.5. It's not bad. It's a little bit over double what we're doing. We're leaving the minimum the same, so that's not... Okay, let's try 4. Let's try 4. I like it. That looks good. That looks better. So that's not too high, not too far. And we're talking units here, right? And these cubes are 1 unit by 1 unit by 1 unit. They're 1, 1, 1. So that essentially means that we can build 4 high, wide, and down. If we're building a wall, if we're just thinking like a X and Y wall, we can build 4 up, 4 down, 4 left, and 4 right without the player having to move. That I feel is pretty good. It's still a little bit, I think it's about 1 unit farther than what Fallout does, which is about 2 or 3. It's pretty small, but we're not trying to copy Fallout 4 exactly, because there's some things that they do that I like and some things that they do that I don't like. However, this I feel pretty darn good about. It looks good. It's not too far. It's not too close. We don't want 1 unit because it would be taking up the whole damn screen, and that really wouldn't do too much. So right now it is clamped to the mouse. However, when we implement this into our game, into Desolate Star, it will most likely be however the camera moves, because the way I have Desolate Star programmed, it locks the mouse to the center screen and it turns the mouse off. So it will be based entirely on where the player can and cannot look. So there's that mechanic that is done. Let's go back over to our code and all the way up to top to our checklist. Alright, 42 minutes to make a very simple mechanic, so I apologize for how long that took. The next one is going to be our, well, we have on our list left, I should say, our snap to mechanics, build a raycast out of game object bounds mechanic, and then 4, we have boolean for build mode mechanic, which basically is the wrapper for all of our code to say, are we in build mode, yes or no. We'll probably do that mechanic next. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and since we're about 42 minutes, I'll go ahead and stop the video, and then make the next video will be the wrapper mechanic to say are we in build mode or not.